Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Joshua and I'm an American.
And I'm Hope. I am South African.
And we are Beyond Borders.
Yes.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about things that Josh never knew existed.
10 things
Yes.
that I had not heard of or not heard of in this way
Yes.
since I moved from America to South Africa.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so the first thing that I had not heard of, and I really like this, is paying damages. So if someone falls pregnant before you're married, then you have to go to that family and say that I broke your daughter's leg.
That's true.
And you have to pay money, which I just think is great.
Yeah.
You know, that's such a great system to like hold people accountable, and then the child won't take the last name unless you pay.
Yes.
So if you say, hey, I'm going to take care of this child, it's going to be my child, I'm sorry for what I did, here's your money. And that just seems like a really good system. It keeps like everyone honest. It gets the families to meet each other and know what happened.
And also the family now knows where the father's child lives. Because, I think if there was nothing like that, maybe you just have a child somewhere and the family doesn't know. So at least this helps you be accountable, saying, hey, this is where the family lives. This is who they are.
Right. By the way, I didn't have to pay damages or anything like that.
Yeah, because we don't have a
We don't
baby.
have a child, but I heard about it. So
Yes.
I thought that was a really cool thing. And I think it's just good for everyone involved, for all parties.
That's a good one.
Number 2 is people speaking multiple languages. And I knew people could speak more than one language, but what I mean with this one is here, people will speak different languages like in the same conversation. Like we just got back from Lesotho and everyone is speaking Sotho to Hope, and she was speaking in Venda or maybe some Sotho.
Yeah.
And then people will speak, they'll use like an English word in an African language sentence.
Yes.
You know, so they'll be speaking Venda, but they'll have English words in there. And then obviously I can't tell in between the languages, but sometimes Hope will say they kind of spoke a little bit of this one and that
Yes.
one. And then there's also like different levels of languages, because I think you can understand Sotho, yeah?
Yeah.
But she says this man was speaking deep Sotho.
When we were in Lesotho, this man just starts speaking like really, really deep Sotho. And I'm like, I can understand Sotho. Sometimes I speak in Sotho as well. Not a lot of people understand Venda, but I only started, that was the only time I've spoken Venda to a Sotho person, because this person just kept on speaking in super deep Sotho. And I'm like, you know what? I don't understand. So I was honestly being petty, because I'm like, okay, I know you're not going to understand what I'm saying, so I'll speak in Venda. But then right after that, after we crossed the border from Lesotho, we came to South Africa, and me and this guy are speaking Sotho. We understood each other perfectly. So, but I don't think that's very different, because it's just like when someone speaks Portuguese from Brazil,
Right.
and someone speaks Portuguese from Mozambique. I think it might not be exactly the same.
Right.
And sometimes it's like deep Portuguese, or, whatever the case. Even in Venda, we have this where in Thohoyandou, which is where I'm from, we have really deep Venda. And then in Makhado, which is another town, their Venda is a little bit diluted. So sometimes you'll say things and they're like, huh, what do you mean? So there is different languages of like deep Sotho, not deep Venda, and.
And then there's like words that are like more niche, I guess, because I know in Chivenda it's di Manchalone,
Yes.
di Masayari, and di Marijuana. But what's the one that's like not quite Masiari, in between?
The Matabama.
Di Matabana. So I want to use that sometime.
These are greetings that he's saying.
And then people will know, like, he actually knows the deep.
Yeah, that's really, really deep. It's like somewhere in between, like good evening and good afternoon. There's like a space in between, which is Matabama. I see that it's making me blurry every now and then. But I think we're fine. As long as you guys can
We
hear
had to
us.
pick who was blurry, me or Hope. It
Yeah.
seems like I'm always blurry. We'll make you not blurry.
Okay.
for the rest of the video.
That's okay.
All right, the next one, I've talked about this a couple times in our videos, but the taxis.
That's number 3.
Yeah, the third one is taxis, and I am just so impressed by the public transport system here in South Africa. I mean, you can get from anywhere in the country to anywhere in the country through public transit, and it's just an amazing system. And I know a lot of people have like a little bit of a dislike for taxis because of the way they drive. But honestly, I always feel like the taxis break the law just right. Like they know exactly when to go and when to stay. And the only thing I sometimes frustrates me is when they stop and I don't realize they're stopped. And like they'll be in the turn lane stopped and then I have to like go around them and get into the turn lane. But normally when they go through the robot or, you know, they kind of...
You just said robot.
I learned. I know the differences.
Now he's saying robots and now not traffic lights. He's South African, y'all.
I know him. I know all the transitions.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just really impressed by the taxis in general. I like the way they drive. I know that's different from city to city, and we're in Pretoria. They're probably real, nice here.
They are. And also we're in Pretoria East, which is not hectic at all.
Right.
I mean, it's like the most calm city.
But even in Venda, I thought the taxis drove real well.
Yes.
I didn't think that they were like rude or obnoxious. I just think, and she explained it to me really well. She's like, taxis are taking working people to and from work. So it's not like just your average person, or it is your average person rather, not just like, it's not just like me going to the grocery store. You're taking a group of people to go to work.
Yes.
So they should get a little bit of like preferential treatment, I feel
And there's
like.
more people in the taxi.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And they really don't slow traffic down. They just break the rules.
Right.
And if you're upset that someone went through the robot and you didn't get to, I don't really understand.
Yeah. And taxis here are different from like taxis in New York. So these are probably like 16 seaters, I think. Meanwhile, in New York, a taxi would like take 1, 2, or 3 people, right? So a taxi here is more like a minibus.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think if you're an American and you're hearing taxi, it's not quite right because you don't say, hey, take me here.
Yeah.
The taxis have routes that they follow.
Yes.
And you can take one taxi to the next taxi to the next taxi.
Yes.
And you can get like all the way across the country.
Yep.
So it's more like she said, mini buses. That's a better way to describe it if you're not used to the system here. All right, we're gonna get in, no, let's not go to food yet. We're gonna go to car guards. So here in South Africa, there is car guards in almost every public parking lot. So they help you back in, they stop other cars while you're going. They're kind of responsible for making sure no one gets into an accident in the parking lot.
Yes.
And I think they take your cart, they'll help you load up your car. They do want like a little tip, but it's like something really small, usually like 2 to 10 rand, something like that.
Yeah.
And they watch for your car. And I really think that like if I'm always nice to these guys, especially at the places I go a lot, like they wouldn't let something happen to my vehicle. And people aren't gonna like do something to your vehicle with car guards there.
True. Can I just say, you guys, I'm sorry to cut you off. What culture shock I had when Josh started giving these car parks like car guards a lot of money. Oh my God. Because for me, and this is where I think we get used to stuff and then we start taking advantage, right? Because for me, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just give them like 2 rands, 5 rands. Like that's just how I thought before I met Josh. And then Josh starts giving them like 20 rands.
Sometimes, usually 10.
10 rands. His normal one is 10, unless it's Sunday. Usually on Sundays, he gives 20.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are we giving them 20 rands? That's like 4 or 5 rands. And then now when I see just how happy these people become, and also, they're at work. It's almost like me going to work from 9 to 5 and then getting paid. And I'm like, why am I against giving these people their pay? Because they are there working in it. And so if you do have the money, guys, and you can see this person is at work, usually they're very well put together people. It's unlike people who are on drugs or things like that.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, they're like well together put people who seem like they're doing this to take care of their families.
Yeah.
And they work and you see them every day. So that means they come there to work every day. So if you have the money, just give them the tip. They really deserve it.
And if I don't have cash on me, I feel like the parking lot has free parking spots where the car parks aren't at. So like the parking lots that I go to regularly, sometimes I've either like been there a couple times already that day,
Yeah.
or I just don't happen to have any cash on me. So I'll park like more in the back of the parking lot. And especially if you back in, they can't really help you back in. So I feel like if you park in the back and
Yeah.
you back in, these guys know like, all right, he doesn't want to pay today.
Right.
You know, and they're really nice about it. You know, they don't really help you in that
Yes.
case, but there's not really much to do.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I feel like parking lots either have like guarded spots or
Yes.
free spots.
So you can go to the free spots. if you
Right,
want.
right, right.
And we are specifically talking about car guides in Pretoria East.
Yes.
Because we don't know how car
That's
guides
true.
somewhere else
Yeah.
are, but this is our experience where we live.
And this reminds me of another one actually. So this is going to be like number 4B because I don't want it to make a list of 11.
Yeah.
But having gas station attendants.
Oh yeah.
In the States, you pump your own gas,
Right.
you wash your own windshield, there's nobody out there doing it. At first, I was thinking like, come on, I know how to do this. I don't need someone to do it for me. But now it's nice because they wash your windshield,
Yes.
they'll check your tire pressure, they'll check your oil. Every time we travel to another country, we make sure to go fill up and then have them, we say, hey, we're driving to Lesotho today.
Yes.
So can you please look at everything and make sure we're good? So that's another one, and I usually tip those guys
Yeah.
10 Rand normally and
Yeah.
20 Rand if they do everything.
Right. Which
so-
is really,
yeah.
they're nice. And they're so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another change. I had never not pumped my own gas before. All right. There's 2 more non-food ones. Stop nonsense. So that is the big wall around someone's house. And don't get me wrong, I've seen a wall around someone's house, but these walls are different. This is like a different breed. These are, I don't know meters, but like
Yeah.
10, 12 foot tall
Yes,
walls.
yeah.
To where sometimes when you're driving around a subdivision in Pretoria East, you won't see anyone. You don't even really see the houses.
Yes.
You just see wall
Walls.
on wall with electric fence over
Yes.
it.
In Sandton as well, remember?
yeah.
Like Sandton was the one that I was so shocked because their walls are like way, way, way taller than
Right.
Pretoria East. And you can't even see anything.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot see what houses look like.
Yes.
You can't really see anything. To me, it kind of makes me feel like the community feels a little closed off. Like it would be harder to know your neighbor.
Which is true.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And like when we first moved to Pretoria, we were shopping for apartments and we also looked at some houses. But it's so hard to see the houses, And like there's not, I don't know if they do like signs in your yard that says for sale or for rent.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something like that, but like you kind of have to talk to a real estate agent
Right.
because you can't just drive around a neighborhood
Right.
and go look at the houses because it's just
Closed
walls.
off. Like
that's all you
somebody
see.
needs to open the gate for you.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that was another big change is every house just about has a stop nonsense. And if you don't, your house like kind of stands out
Right.
as, like the only house without one.
Yeah.
So that's another big one. A stop nonsense is a big wall.
In
around.
rural areas, you will find places without the walls sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in other places as well, but it is very common for people to have.
I've definitely seen like subdivisions where nobody has them. They're like just a bunch, or they have like chain link fences.
The richer.
Yeah.
But then they're in a subdivision, so
Right.
they already have a wall around the whole subdivision.
Yeah.
So the houses inside the subdivision don't need to have a wall. So at the end of the day, they still have a wall.
And I think it's like a safety thing for
is.
sure, but it's also, it seems like an aesthetic.
It is now an aesthetic.
That people just like the look of it
True.
and they paint it, they make it look very nice,
They match it
put
to the
finials
house.
on it.
Yeah.
So it's just a change. I hadn't seen that before. Okay, the last non-food one is dogs without owners. Now I've seen cats without owners, but a dog, dogs usually have owners. And I'm like, we'll be driving around. This was in Venda primarily. We don't see this in Pretoria. But
No, we also saw it in Sandton. Like, remember
Yeah.
driving to Alexandria? We also saw goats.
yeah, one time I saw a goat get out of a taxi. He had like a ShopRite bag. And he was going, that's not true, but he was walking through town.
Yeah.
And it looked like, I was like, that goat looks like it just got off a taxi.
Yes, this was in Alexandria. So you know how Sandton is very close. So we were driving from Sandton to Bramley. And then in Alexandria, there's like a mall called Pan Africa Mall. And then that's where we saw the goat by itself, just like wandering around town.
Right next to a mall. He was going to go get his groceries for the week. But Dogs Without Owners is the other one. And, there's just sometimes dogs walking around, and we saw it near her mom's house. And I was like, whose dog is that? And she's like, that's not anybody's dog. And I was like, who feeds it? And she's like, nobody feeds it. And yeah, it was just surprising. I guess it's just like a cat without an owner, but I'm just used to all dogs having owners. So that was a new one.
Right.
Okay, so now we are on, I think that was number 6, and we are on to food. Mm-hmm. The first one I want to start with is my favorite, and I use it every single day. 6-gun. 6-gun is the best seasoning I have ever used in my life. We actually bought like a glass shaker, and we put our 6-gun into it, and I put that stuff on everything.
Yes, so for those who don't know, 6-gun is seasoning. And I think it's made out of cumin and what you made it once in the States.
Yeah.
It's made up of, it's a mix of different seasonings, but it comes as a mix.
Yes.
It comes fully done as 6-gun.
And I was against it because I used to be a chef. I used to be a professional cook. So I was like, I know how to season food. I don't want to use the same pre-made seasoning for everything. But man, it just slaps on everything. It's so good. It's so nice.
6-gun, if you're watching this, we need you because sponsor us because we love you.
Right. Yeah, I love 6-gun, and
and this is unsponsored, by the way.
I cook it with everything. Next is Acha. I've never heard of or seen Acha before, and that stuff is delicious. If you've never heard of it, it's fermented green mangoes, right? Mm-hmm. So it's unripe mangoes that they chop up into little pieces, and then they put it in like a red spicy oil. Yeah. And they let it ferment a little bit. We actually made it once. Yeah. I think we made a video about it, maybe. Yeah. If we did, I'll put it here.
We did.
So it's delicious.
We don't have a video making it. I think that was like an Instagram video.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, sorry. That was a TikTok video. Okay. So you guys check out our TikTok.
Yeah, check out our TikTok and find it.
Yeah.
But we made it once with her mom, and she had us chop green mangoes, which is a job.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, green mangoes are hard to cut. But it's delicious. You use it as like a condiment, so you can have it with bread. That's how I usually have it, is with bread. You can have it with bab.
If you're weird like me, you can have it with noodles.
Noodles?
And rice.
So weird. Oh, with eggs? I like it with eggs a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just like a spicy, umami fermented. Yeah. It's very nice. It's very nice. I'm surprised it's not in the States at all because I think people would like it. But maybe it's because we don't have green mangoes as much.
It reminds me of the fermented cabbage that we use.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Sauerkraut. Or like kimchi.
Yeah.
You can almost look at it as like an African kimchi a little bit. So Acha, never heard of it, never seen it before.
But the best.
And I remember her talking about it and being like, I miss Acha. I miss my mom's Acha.
And he was like, tell me how it's made. I'll make it for you. And I was like, oof.
Yeah, she was like, green mangoes. And I was like, we're out. Can't do it. Don't know how to get that. All right, the next, number 9, is chutney. Chutney, I thought was like another word for jam or jelly. And I guess I've had it at like a fancy restaurant. They'll be like, there's this apricot chutney or something. Mm-hmm. But it's not like a condiment that people use every day. Yeah. And it's also not a flavor on chips and crisps. Right. And, there's just chutney flavored everything. And it's delicious. That's another one I think would do really well in the States, is chutney flavor. Because it's just so good. It's super, super common here.
Yes. There's like chutney chips.
I would say chutney, sweet chili, and maybe then cheese. Those are like the top 3 flavors. You think that's fair?
Yeah.
But I would say chutney's probably the top one.
Yeah.
Like almost every single chip or crisp has chutney flavor.
And then there's also like a condiment that's chutney that we put in like beetroot and beets. So yeah.
They call beetroot here.
It's a root.
Yeah, but you don't call carrot root.
Wow.
And if you say beets, they're like, huh?
What is that?
Beets.
Yeah, beetroot.
Americans just say beets.
Why?
I don't know, but we do. That's one I haven't adopted. I still say beets. Okay, the last one, the last food is lychees. I had never had a lychee before. And my first lychee was fresh off the tree in Venda.
At my house.
Oh, so yeah, right
We
in the
have
backyard.
7 lychee trees at my house.
And it's almost lychee season again. It's getting there.
It is now.
And I'm so excited because lychees are one of my favorite fruits now. I absolutely love them. And then when it's season, people are selling them on the side of the road and in like a pretty big bag. And then I would always buy 2 on my way home and eat one. And then be like, I got a bag of lychees.
That is so Josh, you guys.
But they're delicious. It's a delicious fruit. It's nice that it's seasonal, so you can't have it all the time. So it's like you really look forward to lychee season.
And it's very sweet, so it could cause you like sickness.
I can handle my sugar.
Okay.
No problem.
I cannot. I cannot handle sugar
Yeah,
like
Hope
that.
gets sick easy from sugar.
Very easy.
Yeah.
So I love lychees though.
They're delicious. They're like this big, maybe a little bigger sometimes, and they're reddish pink.
Yeah, I'm
And-
sure you'll put
Yeah,
a picture.
and you have to take the red part off, and then it's got like an acorn seed inside of it. So it's like the flesh around the seed. Because I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people have never heard of it
Yes.
before. And I think one time my brother bought them in the States, and they were not the same thing. It was like
Right.
weird dried,
Right.
like dried lychees or something.
Yes, but I remember we saw them once at the international grocery store.
Did
But they
we?
were like, yeah, but they were like $7 for probably 10.
And were they ripe? I thought I remember them being black, not red.
Yeah, they become black sometimes. So even at home, I'm sure you've
Okay.
seen them be black, or maybe you just didn't notice.
I thought that was when they were no longer good.
Yes, it's when they're dry.
Right.
When they're getting dry, they get black. So some of them were red, some of them were blackish, greenish. So they were not like the best quality
Right,
lychees.
right.
And I was just like, ain't no way.
Yeah, we don't.
'Cause
She didn't want my first lychee
Exactly.
to be a bad lychee.
Yes, so I knew if I take him back home to South Africa, we have lychee trees in my backyard, and they're the best.
And my first lychee was delicious. If you didn't hear the last time we talked about lychees, I took a bunch of lychees and I stuffed a fish with it
Yeah,
and
it was
cooked
so
it on the fire, and it was delicious. You should try it sometime. Stuffed hake with lychee.
Yes.
Good.
And then you put it on the grill
Yeah.
or dry stand.
Yeah, bry stand. Or we put it in foil and just put it next to the fire. It was good.
Yummy.
So that was our 10 things this American has never heard of until he came to South Africa. Let us know if,
Which one you don't know?
Yeah, which one you didn't know, if you want to hear more about something or anything you're surprised that I didn't know.
Yes. What's one thing that you're surprised he didn't know?
Right.
Like car guys. I'm joking. Whatever surprised you. Or stop nonsense.
Yeah.
Whatever surprised you.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. We'll look forward to your comments. Bye-bye.